The Galactic Academy's training grounds fell silent as the low, rumbling growl echoed across the crystalline courtyard. 23 cadets from 17 different species stopped mid-stride, their varied sensory organs all fixed on the same terrifying scene. Zixthar, a juvenile Kravik, apex predators from the death world of Krav Prime, had just issued a threat display. The cub, barely 2 cycles old but already the size of a large earth wolf, stood with its obsidian scales bristling, triple rows of serrated teeth fully exposed. Its 6 amber eyes had narrowed to predatory slits, locked onto the human who had been tossing a graviton sphere with it moments before. The human, Cadet Sarah Chen, should have been terrified. Every species in the academy had learned about the Kravik in Xenobiology 101. They were classified as apex-class predators, evolved on a planet where the food chain had 17 tiers and the Kravik sat firmly at the top. Their bite force could shear through reinforced durasteel. Their venom could paralyze a Thalvian war beast in seconds. There were strict protocols about interacting with juvenile Kravik, and play was absolutely not on the approved list. Kareth, a Thalvian cadet with 4 arms and excellent survival instincts, began backing away slowly. "Chen," he whispered through his translator, "do not move. Do not make eye contact. I will alert the handlers." What happened next would be discussed in academy halls for generations. Sarah Chen looked directly at the growling predator cub, planted her feet shoulder-width apart, and growled back. It wasn't a human scream or a cry for help. It was a deep, guttural, absolutely primal sound that erupted from somewhere in her chest, a sound that had no business coming from a species classified as persistence hunters and tool users. The growl reverberated through the courtyard, and for just a moment Sarah's face transformed into something that made several cadets instinctively reach for weapons they weren't carrying. Then she laughed, a bright, delighted sound that shattered the tension like breaking glass. Zixthar's scales smoothed. His eyes widened. His tail began wagging with such enthusiasm that it knocked over a decorative fusion lamp. The cub pounced, not to attack but to play, and Sarah caught him mid-leap, all 200 pounds of apex. Predator. Grunting with effort as she spun him around before setting him down, the Kravik immediately play-bowed, chirping excitedly before pouncing again. "What," Kareth managed, "in the name of the first colonies just happened?" Lieutenant Vexnell, the Academy's Kravik liaison officer and Zixthar's handler, approached, with what might have been amusement rippling through her scales. "Apparently Cadet Chen speaks Kravik better than our translators." "That was old Kravik," she continued, her voice a rumbling purr. "A challenge play call, very specific, very correct." The massive Kravik officer tilted her head, studying Sarah with new interest. "Where did a human learn ancestral Kravik challenge protocols?" Sarah shrugged, still wrestling with the delighted cub. "I didn't. I just..." She paused, trying to find words. "He was playing, but he was also testing, seeing if I'd run, so I told him I wouldn't." "In Kravik," Vexenel said slowly, "you told him you were a worthy packmate. You issued a dominance equality growl reserved for littermates and hunting partners." "I just growled back," Sarah protested, laughing as Zixthar tried to climb up her tactical vest. The cadets were staring. A Velcarian with bioluminescent skin flickered through several colors associated with confusion. An insectoid chittle clicked its mandibles in what its translator rendered as illogical behavior detected. "Humans," Kareth said, and the translator somehow conveyed both exasperation and fondness, "are insane." Lieutenant Vexnall made a sound that the translators interpreted as laughter. "No, humans are predators." She turned to address the gathered cadets, her voice taking on a lecturing tone. "You all studied Earth in xenobiology. You learned about their persistence hunting, their tool use, their social structures, but you missed something crucial." She gestured toward Sarah, who was now completely on the ground, letting Zixthar pretend to maul her while she defended herself with a stick. Humans evolved alongside predators far more dangerous than themselves. They didn't just survive. They turned those predators into companions. They domesticated wolves into dogs. They kept cats as pets. They swam with sharks for recreation. Vexnal's scales rippled with something like respect. They are the only species in the Galactic Council that seeks out predators for entertainment and friendship. But the growl, Kareth started. The growl was instinct, Vexnal said. Humans understand predator language on a level most civilized species have forgotten. They read body language, threat displays, submission signals. It's built into their social dynamics because they needed it to survive on a death world that tried very hard to kill them. Sarah finally managed to stand, covered in dust and laughing, with Zixthar draped across her shoulders like an oversized scaled scarf. He's just a baby, she said, scratching under the cub's chin. He wanted to know if I'd play rough or run away. I'd never run from a friend. A friend, the Velcarian repeated, colors still flickering uncertainty. You befriended an apex predator by growling at it. Well, yeah, Sarah said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the galaxy. How else? Do you make friends with a predator? Lieutenant Vexnal's translator emitted a sound like a chuckle. Perhaps this is why humans have the highest success rate in interspecies relations class, she mused. They don't see predators and prey. They see potential packmates. As the cadets slowly resumed their training, Sarah continued playing with Zixthar, teaching him to fetch the graviton sphere. The cub was learning quickly, responding to her commands with eager cooperation. Kareth watched them for a long moment before shaking his head. If humans can turn apex predators into playmates, he said quietly, the galaxy never stood a chance against them. Or with them, Vexnal corrected, watching Sarah and Zixthar with ancient predator's eyes. Definitely with them. In the distance, a human cadet laughed, and a Kravik cub growled playfully in response. It was the sound of a friendship that transcended species, instinct, and fear, a very human thing indeed.